Good morning from beautiful South Korea. It is your boy Jason, and today we're going to talk about visas. In particular, we're going to talk about the F-6 visa, and then even more in particular, we're going to talk about the F-6-2 visa. So, for those you don't know, for one, I separated from the military last year. I did 15 years of United States Air Force. Then I separated so I can be more stable parent for my daughter. Now, with that, I was married to a Korean woman, and then we parted ways, divorced. But I was granted custody of our daughter. So, because of that, because I have custody, and I don't know if you follow me on social media, you know I homeschool her, take her to Girl Scouts, do all kinds of stuff with her. Now, because I do have custody, that grants me the ability to get my F-6-2 visa. So before going into that one, let me break it down. There's kind of like different variations of an F-6 visa. So the first one, let me pull up my notes here. So the main, I guess, main or basic F-6 visa is the visa for those that for people who a foreigner who is actively married to a Korean national. So you have a F-6 visa, and pretty much with the F-6 visa, you have a lot of the liberties that a Korean can do. You can open up bank accounts, you can run a business, you can work, and you control your visa. Like people who come here, like that teach, their visa is sponsored by the company that hired them. So a lot of times, you might hear some horror stories of people who teaching, but you hear some good stories too. But on an F-6 visa, pretty much your spouse, your Korean spouse is the one that sponsors your F-6 visa. And there's some requirements with that F-6 visa, whereas y'all have like you get to have a certain amount of income and stuff like that in order to get that visa. So say as though you divorce your spouse and y'all had no kids. So you divorce your Korean spouse and y'all had no kids, and it was the divorce is no fault of your own. You can then apply for an F-6-3 visa, and what that one is, it's kind of like it gives you extension to stay in Korea for a few more years. Um, for whatever reason. But I know a few women who was married to Korean men and they divorced and then they was on that visa. They had no kids with their Korean spouse, but the Korean government allows you to get like a extension. I think they got like a 1 or 2 year extension on that visa, so they had an F-6-3 visa. Now the one that I have, because I did divorce my Korean wife, but we had a child together while we was married. I qualified for the F-6-2 visa. So when for that one, there's actually I didn't there was no financial requirement for me to meet with that, surprisingly, because with the the main F-6 one, you got to have a financial requirement to meet. But with the F-6-2, F-6-2, I didn't have to have no financial requirement. Pretty much, I had to get a federal background check, so I requested my federal background check from the U.S., and that actually was the longest part. Everything else was pretty quick to fill out. Yeah, took a photo for my ID. Um, Filled out the paperwork, but the longest part that took was getting that federal background check because it has to be like officiated, like a pop with a like apostle, whatever. So it has to be official, and that could take 3 months, which it did take 3 months. But the good thing about it, while waiting for my visa to get fully processed, I was able to stay in country past my old visa that expired, but because while you're in the process of applying for a visa, they give you like a temporary visa because you're in limbo of waiting to get the verdict of what's going to go on with your potentially new visa. So the first year I applied for my F-6-2 visa, they gave me 1 year. And then recently, actually last month, oh, no, yeah, this month actually, I applied for my extension and because I have a child, they gave me 3 years. So this week actually I picked up my visa and they gave me a 3-year one. So with the F-6-2 visa, I pretty much my daughter is the one that's sponsoring my visa. But like I can start a business, work for people, open bank accounts, uh, sign contracts, more legit. Like the apartment I'm in right now, I was able to sign my own lease, and and they use my ID and all that stuff. Able to do contracts in Korea and with my own, which is nice. I don't like having to put stuff in other people's name because that kind of puts you in a tough position. But yeah, I don't like putting stuff in other people's name because that could put you in like a tough position. Honestly, and I'm not a fan of that. So yeah, I mean, quick. It's. I think I will honestly say this: immigration in Korea is a it's very efficient. um, Not hard actually. Uh, Real like once, especially like my first time, I was kind of like lost in the weeds. I went to like this center where foreigners can go and get advice and to create people to help you out. I walked in there. I said, "Look, can y'all help me out?" They called up immigration for me. She wrote down what immigration told me to get. She printed out everything for me and said, "Boom, here you go." That was the first time. Second time around, I was able to reach out to my Filipino friend who actually went who in a similar boat as me as the same type of visa. She texted me what the people told her that she needed, and it was way less paperwork compared to my first time. So that's the thing. If your initial actually would take the longest, mainly for that background check, right? Then after you do that, if you keep renewing, it's real quick. Like my renewal took less than a month. Like I went on April 4th and picked it up April 16th. My my new updated visa. So it's real quick. Like uh, they streamline the process. It is amazing on how fast immigration works, and it's impressive. That's all I'm gonna say. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about with visas today. If you want more questions, or if you have any questions, or like you know or whatnot, let me know. I mean, I'm gonna try to do a little more videos talking about the stuff about Korea that's not really talked about. I feel like, I consider myself part of the Passport Bros community, but I want to mainly talk about actual stuff that's useful for the day to day living, particularly here in Korea. But visas are important. There's so many different type of visas out there, especially for Korea. You'd be surprised. Some you might qualify for, some you might not qualify for. For me, now that I have the F-6-2 visa, I think the next visa after 5 years I could qualify for is like a F2. I think F-2-3. It's a next level up where I could. I'll get more into that later, but for that, I want to know I got to be here on the F-6-2 visa for at least 5 years, and then also speak a certain level of Korean, which I plan on start getting into more again, practicing learning Korean, so I can become fluent in it, so I can start qualifying for some of these other type of visas as well here in Korea. Um, yeah. Now, originally, I actually got a job offer in the States a couple months ago, and I was considering moving my daughter me to the States, Wyoming, and restarting our life there because since I've been in the military, I left the U.S. in 2008. My first duty assignment was Japan. Then my second duty assignment was in Azores, Portugal. Then I came to Korea. I got stationed in Korea in 2013, and then I separated last year. So I haven't lived in the U.S. since 2008. Of course, I visited. I went on vacations. I had to go TDY, work related trips, and I visited family in the States. But live, it's been a minute. All right. So for me, if I would have moved us back to the States, I would have been starting all from scratch, like because I had no furniture. I had no furniture because a lot of times the places that we rent while in the military, they have furniture, especially in Korea. A lot of places that, except this place, a lot of places I was renting when I was in the military, it had furniture. So pretty much the only thing I had to buy was probably like an extra bed or whatever for like the guest room. But for pretty much all the furniture and appliances was in the places I was renting, so I didn't have to have a lot of stuff except my clothes and trinkets. So if we would have went back to the States, we'd have been started from scratch. I had to get a new car. I had to get a whole new furniture and appliances, look for housing, this and that. And plus, I was comparing the cost of living compared to cost of living here, cost of living in the States, and then also safety wise as well. And I came to the conclusion that it's just better to stay here and start over. All right. So I found this new apartment. We stayed in the apartment before here. It was tiny. It was temporary. I just want to check it out. So found this new place. Now for this apartment, I had to buy all furniture and appliances. All right. So I still ended up having to pay for furniture and appliances. But luckily here in Korea, you can get some real good deals on new stuff. And I got a lot. I got all this furniture and appliances for a very good price compared to if I went to the States, probably been way more. But yeah, so I decided to keep us here in Korea. I felt it's a better environment, better cost of living, and safer compared to bring my daughter back to the States with me. Plus, her mother and me, we actually kind of have a good co-parenting relationship going on right now. And then I didn't want to be too have I didn't want it to be too far away, and it'll get difficult for her mother to be able to see our daughter whenever she wanted to. So that was another factor that played into it. So I took all that into account and was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep us here in Korea. Cost wise is better, safety wise is better, and plus for our daughter who's 7, I think it's better that we are in country. So if she wants to see her mother, is much easier, or if her mother wants to see her, is easier, versus us being in Wyoming, because if anyone who's a single parent, that's a big thing to try to deal with, especially with a young child who you pretty much is moving from an environment they know their whole 7 years of their life, which is Korea, is then boom, now we're going to Wyoming, right? And that child not having all the um, coping mechanisms in place in Wyoming compared to here, where they know this place. So that also kind of played into my decision in staying here. So it made the kind of like the mental and emotional well-being of my daughter. So that's reason why I decided to stay here. So then, yeah. So that's my video on visa, and I guess a little bit on why I decided to stay in Korea once I separated from the military. So now, trying to figure some things out. Got some coals in on the grill to see which ones get hot first. Other than that, that's all. I do have I have a newsletter, Passport Bros Korea, that I write. It mainly covers kind of like certain type of like top news topics going on here in Korea, like dealing with finance tech. And then every now and then I might put my own little personal thing out there in the newsletter. It's weekly. It's free to sign up. You can pay if you want, but no pressure. It's free to sign up. And yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. And I'll talk to you later.